O Jaws the Revenge, art thou a piece of shit? The movie that killed the Jaws franchise, the movie that almost everyone and their uncle considers the worst sequel ever. It had a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes for quite a while until it decided to go up to a 3 and has now gone back to a 2. So I imagine by at some point it'll get a 0% again. But characters, before I get into the characters are actually one of the only decent things about this movie. I actually found myself enjoying the characters way more than I expected, but that's not gonna salvage this movie. Lorraine Gary returns as Ellen Brody, and this is her best. This is surprisingly where that character's the strongest, but this movie's still dog shit. If you really like the Ellen Brody character, then I have a bridge to sell you. Don't watch this movie. Yeah, she's back and she's depressed. This movie's fucking depressing. She's grunt crying all over the place, and she has, honestly, just the weirdest line delivers. Like they say, they invite her to the Bahamas, and her reaction is the most aggressive yes you will ever hear. Sounds like, yes! That's what it is. And then she also has this line after, like, a date with Michael Caine. She's all like, all he did was kiss me! And it's like the weirdest delivery ever. Yeah, and she's all, the shark's coming for us, the shark's taking revenge, and, sharks don't take things personally. Except for this one. This one does. And the one from Maneater too, but, not Maneater too, the one from Maneater as well. She also takes revenge. But, Michael Brody returns, again, played by a different actor. Frick, I didn't check what their age was. But I think he's like 67 now, which 40 years ago would have made him 37, so I think he's younger than the previous Michael, but he's still nowhere near the age of the original two. He's nowhere near the age he should be, is what I'm trying to say. What else about this travesty? Sean Brody returns, but he's just there to die at the beginning. And let me tell you about that beginning in a moment. But yeah, Sean Brody dies, and that's it. Well, there are more Brodys. Now Michael has a wife, Carla. No, not Kate, because apparently this movie is not canon. Apparently the third one's not canon to this one. But guess what? My headcanon, they all are. All Jaws. In my headcanon, you wanna know what's in my headcanon? Jaws, the first 4 Jaws movies. Cruel Jaws, because I think it's funny. Jaws Unleashed, Deep Blue Sea, and Maneater. Those are all canon in the Jaws universe. In my headcanon. That, as ridiculous as that may seem, that's my headcanon. And you can fight me on that. You can fight me on Cruel Jaws being in the canon, but I will never not think that's funny. But anyway, yeah, Carla is just there. She's his wife. They argue about him taking out the garbage for some reason. Then you got Thea, who's like this 5-year-old adorable little child, and she is there too. She almost dies on a banana boat, but she's fine. I guess she's there. She has this little moment with Michael Brody, recreating that scene with Sean. There should be a problem in that sentence. You should have had a little bit of pain in that sentence, because they're recreating that scene, the imitation scene with Sean, with the wrong kid. But I guess they both imitated him, according to Ellen. Michael Caine is in this movie. I think everybody has to see this movie more than 3 times to remember that Michael Caine is in this movie. So if you are just one of those who watches a bad movie, watches it in theaters, and then watches it on DVD, you will not remember that Michael Caine was in this movie. Actually, you might have to watch it more than 3 times. You might have to watch it a bunch of times to remember that Michael Caine is in this movie, and he's like the love interest for Ellen Brody. And honestly, it's one of the strongest things of the movie. I found myself kind of enjoying that aspect of the movie way more than I thought I would. It's a pretty good, strong aspect. It's a nice little cute romance that doesn't really matter. But honestly, I think if you just removed all the shark shit and all the stupid shit, which is the shark shit, then you can have a pretty good, pretty boring, decent family melodrama. But yeah, he's there. He has the greatest line ever. So they all land the plane, and he's like, "Oh, you passengers, you're all the same. Complain." And then the shark attacks, and his reaction is the greatest thing. It's like the director told him, "Okay, Mr. Caine, you need to okay, so the shark's attacking you, and I want you to react like you're trying to unlock your front door and having a difficult time, and then you drop your keys. That's what I want your reaction to be." And it's just, "Oh shit." That's his fucking reaction. It's just, "Oh shit," and he turns around back into the plane. Of course, doesn't die because they couldn't kill Michael Caine. He's like the most money they spent on this movie, besides maybe the shark. Yeah, and he said he's never seen the movie, but the house it built was pretty damn cool, and I bet it was, Mr. Caine. Yeah. Oh, there's this guy named Jake. He's kind of annoying, but he's there too. For some reason, they bring him along to find Ellen when she goes out to kill the shark. I think that's all the characters, honestly. There's Jake's girlfriend, but who the hell cares? Why is this movie such a piece of shit? Well, a lot of things. The story is ass. The shark tries to take revenge for the last 3 sharks in my headcanon on the Brodies for killing them, because that makes sense. Even though 2 clearly stated they didn't. And honestly, with that stupid ass premise, I think you could have made a funny comedy, sort of satirical thing, where you don't take it seriously at all. But this isn't that. This movie takes itself way too seriously for its bonkers premise. And yeah, I think the potential of that could have made a pretty funny fucking movie. Pretty bonkers movie. Like something like Sharknado or something. I think it's something like this movie could be, but it wasn't. But that opening, I mentioned the opening earlier. I actually found the opening before they head to the Bahamas really fucking strong. It is a pretty damn good opening. It starts, and it, within this opening, and the opening only really, except for the fact that Ellen's there, within this opening, it makes you feel like you are back in the Jaws 1 and 2 world. That world you were in for Jaws 1 and 2, it feels like you are back. Because not only do Ellen, Sean, and Michael here, but also here is the city council lady from Jaws 1 and 2, the Alex Kintner's mom's in there, someone else, but I don't remember. But yeah, it feels like you're back in the world. So the movie begins with, Sean and Ellen Brody at home. Michael calls, he lived in the Bahamas. Well, actually, no, Thea calls, and they live in the Bahamas, Michael talks to her. And then, Sean's got to go out for work. He's a deputy of police now, taking after his father. So then he goes out. There's a piece of wood out there stuck on something, so he goes out there. His death is pretty shitty, though. It's jump cuts. It makes me feel nauseous every time I see it. It just jump cuts around, and, he falls into the water, gets his arm bitten off, and then sinks in the water. That's a pretty damn good cold open. And then Michael comes to Amity to, for his mother, and then they have a funeral. Again, this opening I found this opening very strong, but then the rest of the movie's so dog shit that it really didn't matter. Yeah, this movie is ass. This movie sucks. The shark also looks pretty shitty. One cool aspect about the design, though, is that he's got many scars, and that's pretty cool. So, I don't know. Take that for what it's worth, but otherwise, the shark looks shitty. The shark roars his head off infamously at the very end of the movie. The ending, though, is, there's two different endings, and there's one ending that everybody hates, and there's one ending that everybody considers the real thing that killed the Jaws franchise. The real way the last Jaws shark went out, at least movie sharks. And that's the shark. So in the theatrical release, the original ending was shown in the theatrical release. The shark comes up, gets impaled by the pulpit of the boat, and it starts bleeding out, and kind of deeply roaring a little bit, but not as ridiculously as he was earlier. And, the boat starts falling apart because, that is what would happen if a 28-foot shark... Well, I did talk about... Okay, let me talk about the character of Vengeance. Vengeance is a fan name. So, yeah, this shark is Batman. So, this shark is not cool. He's on a revenge story. He's stupid. He looks stupid. He is stupid. But, okay, back to his death scene. It's ass either way, but at least the theatrical version. But yeah, so the boat starts falling apart, and I think that is what would happen if a 28-foot shark got impaled on your pulpit. Your boat would just stop existing. So he starts, the boat starts falling the hell apart, and so it goes underwater and sinks underwater. And, that's it. I think in the theatrical cut, then it cuts to them on the plane and they leave. Nothing else in this movie. But then the fucking DVD release, or the VHS back then, decided, that's too violent, let's change it. Why? Well, let's change it to what? Something stupid. Way dumber than anything in existence. What happens is when the shark gets impaled, instead of bleeding out, he just fucking explodes for no reason. Like, there are 4 shots out there of this shark, of a miniature shark that looks so shitty being impaled on the damn boat, and it just explodes for no fucking reason. When I watched this ending, I just pulled out my phone, and I'm just, sitting there, having the theatrical cut and the DVD cut playing on the TV, and I'm just watching them both, and, when the scene comes up, I just watch this one, because it might be stupid, but at least it's miles better than the shark just fucking popping like a goddamn balloon. And then, Ellen was having flashbacks of something she wasn't there for, when Brody killed the shark. And then they had the gall to change the sinking, too. They changed the sinking to the footage of the shark sinking from the first fucking movie. Because, why? I have no clue. That is beyond me. And then, in the DVD release, Jake turns out to be alive, even though he was fully in the shark's mouth. He was thrashed around in the water at the surface, and then you see him in the water, fully in the shark's mouth. That fucker is dead. So, don't even with me. Yeah, this movie is ass. Plugging it in to my ranking system, it's a 1 out of 10. It would be a 0 out of 10, but I actually enjoy the human stuff and the opening. So that's what gives this a 1. Each of them give this movie a 0.5. The opening give it a 0.5, and the damn characters give them a 0.5. Not because the characters in the opening are super shitty, but it's because this movie is so shitty that its points have to be cut in half in order for it to gain anything. So that's all that's enjoyable about this movie. 0.5 is freaking the characters, and 0.5 of that 1 out of 10 is also the opening. But that won't salvage this shit show of a movie that will kill this once beloved movie that turned into far diminishing sequels from good to sucks to blows. This movie is ass. Anyway, that is all for this time. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you next time.